Welcome everybody to another episode of Prime Talk. Today I'm really excited to have a special guest. I'm having Max Schlesinger. Max Schlesinger is the founder and CEO of Bestseller Listers, okay, which is a leading Amazon agency, marketing agency. Mac, how you been?
I am doing great. Thanks, Yoni. It's my honor to be here.
It's our pleasure to have you. So today, really, this episode is going to be about yourself. It's going to be all about you. You're going to share with us your story, basically where you're from, where'd you grow up, where'd you go to school, how'd you start, entering the business world or the professional world with your first job. And we're going to take it all to the stations of where we are today. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
All right. So you want to hear my story?
Yes,
It's
sir.
a little bit personal, but
Yeah, you
so
don't have to tell us how much money in the bank and your tax returns, but the human story, the person called Max Schlesinger.
nice. Okay. I mean, honestly, the way I grew up is basically nothing fancy. Basically, it's very similar to people in a community, which I grew up in Monroe, New York. I'm very familiar with this.
So Monroe, New York is it's on the border almost with New Jersey. So the northern part of New Jersey, that's where it is, as opposed to, so it's not really part of New York City. It's what they call upstate New York, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you grew up in Monroe.
Grew up in Monroe. Went through the whole system. The school, yeshivas, and everything.
When you say yeshiva, what kind of school is that? Some of the audience here, they're not too familiar. They're versed with, I guess the Jewish world, right? So give us a little bit of context of what's a yeshiva
So
for somebody listening.
yeshiva is basically once you finish cheder, as you call it, like the after the
Cheder literally means in Hebrew or Yiddish a room, right? So you go into this room. There's a bunch of students. So basically, it's a classroom. We call it cheder. So that's which grade is that? From first grade to what?
so this isn't until you turn 13. Once you turn 13, you get bar mitzvah, obviously, and once you get bar mitzvah, you go up to yeshiva, which is like I guess from 13 and
So
up.
yeah, 13. So essentially, either seventh grade or eighth grade and up. That's when you're in yeshiva. Up until then, you're in what they call the cheder, which is the room, which is the classroom, which is, if you like, elementary and middle school. And then you enter to the yeshiva, which, lack of better terms, yeshiva is like the high school for stage for ultra-Orthodox communities, correct?
Right.
Okay, good. So you finish your yeshiva, what, 17, 18 years old?
So the only yeshiva years, I mean, I went through a lot of different stuff. I went to I learned locally, and then I went to England, which is
You went to England at what age?
I was 14 years.
14. So is it part of your school system or
No,
the?
just I needed to change yeshiva, so I went over there.
So you're there for how many years or how long?
I was there, I think, for 2 years.
Okay, so 14 till like 16, yeah.
Yeah, and then I came back, and I
And you
went.
said London was the place?
It's called Hitchin. It's like an hour away from London. It's like next to London.
Okay, and was that like a unique experience for you? Or was like, you feel like,
Yeah,
just the same yeshiva format, just a different country, the accent might be a little bit different.
no, it's totally different because the whole yeshiva system is different than most yeshivas out there. It's more like a camp all year round. Like everyone is like live like a family because we are away from the family, from everything.
So it's a dormitory, it's a community. You guys are like a little village,
Right.
correct?
You all live together all year round, so it's like
as opposed to where you were living in New York, Monroe, New York, where you go to back home after the day of school, right? Got it. Okay, that provides some perspective on this. All right, so 16 years old, you're back into yeshiva, and take us from there.
Yeah, so basically I went back to New York, went to different yeshivas, and in and out. So basically,
You say in and out because you're problematic, or just you like to always kind of change the scene?
It's part of my story that I get bored very, very easily, very quickly. So I like to change. I like to do it. So that also helped me on my story. I mean, how I started the business, how I grew, and
so you felt this yeshiva, I'm here for a few months. I feel like I want to go to a different yeshiva and give it another. So it comes from you. It doesn't come from the yeshiva saying, we had enough of you. Go to this other yeshiva.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Interesting. Okay, good. So when did you graduate, so to speak?
When I graduated in yeshiva?
You don't really graduate, right? Because you guys don't really do the SATs, but you turn 18, and then what happens? Usually, what's the trigger? Is there a shift when you're 18, 19, or is there a time frame where you kind of finish that system and then you go out to the real world? What's the position?
Yeah, so once you pass 18 and that range, you either get married
Hmm.
or if you don't get married, you either stay in yeshiva longer in different yeshivas, like specifically for older bocharim, and or
Older
you
Bachram, older guys, older boys. We have to make sure
right,
the
right.
Yiddish translation, we're going to keep it in English. We're going to keep it
Okay.
very open for any type of audience to understand the context. Yeah, it's very important that we keep that. Okay, so I got it. So yeah, basically either you get married and you start a family and you go into the real world where you start working, or you kind of stay in the yeshiva format. And there's yeshivas that are kind of built and structured for people of older age, 20 years and up and up and up. Okay, very good. So what was your case? Did you get married?
No, so I mean, I did get married, but
Eventually, yeah. But when you're 18 or 19, I mean, take us to the next step.
so after 18, 19, I went out and basically I found like it's a semi yeshiva, which is basically it's a place where you can go in and basically be surrounded with friends and they have like part-time jobs and stuff like that. So during that period, I started having getting access to my phone, to the internet. So this is when I started getting a little bit familiar with like what I'm doing, like which is basically online, like products, selling, listing, eBay, and stuff like that.
Hold on, hold on. How old were you again? 19?
I was 19 or 19, yeah, 19 or 20.
1920, you opened up a little more to the world. You got your first phone and the phone, what about internet connection? When was the first time you had access to internet? Let's put it this way.
Yeah, it's
You
around.
always had access, or?
This we can't discuss it because my yeshivas will see.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm
Okay,
kidding.
all right.
So yeah, so officially I started about the 19 probably.
So when you're 19 years old, that's when you discover the internet, right? And you're not like 90 years old. You're a pretty young guy. So just to give context to people that first 19 years of his life is he's wrapped in a community where the values and the mindset is completely different than what many entrepreneurs or online entrepreneurs take for granted. So 19 years old, he had to understand what internet is, what internet means, and inside all of that, what e-commerce means, online retail means. Correct?
Yeah, because that was actually really hard because I didn't have any not my parents, not my siblings, not my friends. I mean, even between friends, everything was like secret, like the internet. Everything was like it's not like okay, you have internet, we have courses and classes. Everything was like secretive, so I had to find out everything myself. So since I don't know, I guess it's the type of personality or person that pulled me into like buying and selling products for some reason.
Got it. So you understood what internet means. You quickly identified the potential to do trade, to buy and sell products. You start buying products and selling it on eBay. And what you do on Amazon immediately as well, or no?
No. So basically, back then I didn't have any business experience. Obviously, I didn't learn that in yeshiva. I didn't learn that at home.
Forget about business experience. You didn't have internet experience. That makes it even more challenging. But let's give it some more context of which year was that when your first year of when you were figuring out what internet is, like 2000 what?
2009 probably.
2009 was your first date, or I guess really settling into the world of internet, right? So 2009, 11 years ago.
Yeah. Probably, yeah. So that was really hard. So I don't know how I got into it, but for some reason, my friends in school and just found out about I'm familiar with the internet and online whatever. So we didn't know a lot as a business, but we did it as personal stuff. Everyone had like their own phone, their own wallet or something. We always find was looking like either to buy new ones or sell the old ones. So some reason my friends in school, whenever they wanted to sell something, buy something, they came to me. I should sell it for them, or I should find it for them. So
Guys, so 2009, you're still in yeshiva, but you basically discovered the internet. You started your activities in the internet. So your friends from the yeshiva came to you whenever they wanted to sell something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was just like a childish, we did it. And
Yeah. Kids play, messing around and kind of trying to make some extra income on the side.
Mm-hmm. And also, since when I was around that age, I wasn't like the outgoing social person with a lot of friends and stuff. I'm more or less to my side, quietly to my side. So that's why I had more time to sit on my phone and get familiar with stuff. I even remember back then. I think it was probably back then. I think I fell into a kind of sort of scam, like a drop shipping. I don't know how.
This was 2009, you say?
The same period of time.
So tell us about this scam. What happened? I guess you were, I guess, naive. You were not too familiar with the fact that internet is amazing world, but there has this dark side. So what happened there?
So there was a company that offered like drop shipping officially. They had like a website with a lot of products, and they made it look very easy that I just go into their website, open an account, I sell it somewhere, and whenever I sell something, I buy it from them and then ship it to the customer. So I thought it's very simple, very easy, and I don't know, let's do it,
And what went wrong?
So the problem is I didn't have any money then. I mean, I didn't work, I didn't do. So what I did was I did have some experience in credit cards, like how to get credit card, get approved and this.
Mm-hmm.
So I had some credit cards. So I signed up for that program, and I started doing it like the whole thing. And then at some point, I don't know where it fell in. I think once I started selling the products and I wanted to buy the product from them to sell it, I realized that most of the products are not even available. And the products that are available are much more expensive than it was stated on their websites. For example, they said this product you can buy for $9.99 and you can resell it for $19.99. So I posted for $19.99. At the end of the game, maybe it was also because of lack of experience, I don't know, but it was much more than $19.99.
So they essentially charge you more than what they said they're going to charge you on the wholesale price. So instead of charging you wholesale on the actual product, they charge you retail.
Yeah.
So for example.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay, so that wasn't a good taste, and you dropped in, and what'd you do next?
So what I do next? So that was a book. So I mean, what was in Shiva? So once I grew older, I started to I quit yeshiva and started.
Let's talk years. So 2009, you were still there. You got stung by a little scam. And which year did you leave the yeshiva?
So I probably left at 2010.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I didn't really do anything. I was just at home with friends. But I think in 2011, I started feeling that I need to start something. I need to start something real. I get a job and, start living.
Right.
So in 2011, I started working for B&H Photo in Manhattan.
Okay, anybody that is not familiar with B&H listening, B&H Photo is a very serious electronic store that's located in Midtown, New York City or Manhattan. They very active in the electronics world, and also very active website, bnhphoto.com. So you work there in what capacity?
So when I went there for the interview, obviously they saw right away that I don't have any experience, and I had very little confidence as well. So when I went in, I was very quiet. So obviously they put me in the lowest position possible, which is like working in the warehouse.
In the warehouse in the city or somewhere else?
In the city, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in the city,
basically a fulfillment center that they had.
It's not, yeah, it's a fulfillment center for the store. So basically, when someone comes into the store, they want to buy something, they have to bring it out from the warehouse and this. So basically, when a salesperson in the store made a sale, they had like a system to bring out the products from the warehouse. So I used to do it, like bring out the products, run back and forth, bring the products.
So yeah, so use your muscle, right? I literally muscle work. You come from the warehouse with the box to the client.
Oh yeah.
Right. Thank you for buying. Here's your product. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So that's 2010. Oh no, 2011. You say?
2011, yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So how long did you do that for? Or what was the next station for you?
So I did it for a while, and obviously it didn't take long for the managers to see that this is not my. I mean, I have much more capabilities than that.
Yeah, if you're listening to this episode in sound, just in the podcast, maybe you can consider jumping into our YouTube channel to see Mac on video. He's a pretty slim guy, he's petite. So I guess carrying all these products for you wasn't like the best fit, right?
Right. So and I started to realize that I can do much more than just running back and forth. I mean, obviously I was very quick because I was slim, but that's not my this. So at that time I was still single, and I think that was 2011. So in 2012 I got married.
Mm-hmm.
I was working at B&H. It was February 2012. I got married, and after my wedding, I got a promotion in B&H, which they put me in the store, like as a salesperson.
Face to face with clients.
Face to face, yeah.
All right, direct with consumers. All right, nice. How was that experience? Was it good?
It was pretty good. Oh, by the way, as I'm talking, I remember that the name Mac comes from comes from there.
Basically, yeah. So what's your full name, like before Mac? Mac is the nickname, right?
Yeah, and it was Mechi. So I mean the nickname, Mechel.
What's in Hebrew? Like Mechi, what's the full name in Hebrew? Huh? Michael. So in a different world or a different community, it will probably be called Mike. Michael.
Right.
But he went to work for B&H Electronics, and they called you Mac because the Apple Mac computers.
No, it was all stories. So basically, but in sales, every salesman had like a vest, like a uniform vest, and a tag with a name.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem was that I already had a colleague in my department. His name was Michael. So they couldn't give me Michael because it's going to be confusing.
Mm-hmm.
They brainstormed a new name. Meki they couldn't give because it's very hard to pronounce for a lot of people. So I think one of the managers came up with the name Mac, you know.
Nice. It makes sense. You're probably a hit. You know, I want the Mac. Oh, Mac's right here for you. No, I meant the other Mac. Doesn't matter. Here's Mac. So you probably got a lot of clients coming your way because they're all looking for a Mac computer, but everybody thought they're looking for a Mac, the sales guy. And hopefully you got a lot of traffic into your, daily routine.
Right, it was a good branding. But actually, I think I always keep it here in my drawer in my office just for the memory.
Mm-hmm.
We should show it here. So this is the tag. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it there?
Yeah, B&H Mac. Nice.
Mac. So I wore this on my vest. And this is I got whatever. Just let's not get out
Nice.
of the.
Very cute. Very cute. Okay, so you were doing some face-to-face sales, and how long did you do that for, or what was the next station after that?
Yeah. So while I was doing sales, I was after my wedding, so I started to feel like in real life, with expenses and bills and stuff. I lived in Brooklyn. It wasn't cheap. So
Oh, so that's a big move. You shifted when you got married. You shifted to Brooklyn because
yeah,
you got married.
I got married in Brooklyn. My wife's from Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
So I
So
lived
cost of living is a different league, right? So all right. So you is this already 2012? You realize, working for B&H, but I need supplemental income. Cost of living are rising.
right. So first I started doing like hustling, like side jobs. When I came home, like I did like car service and messenger services, like just to the income. And while I was working there, like in B&H, I started feeling like I don't know. This is as I told you in the beginning. I get bored very quickly. Like I always try to find like the next big thing. So I was trying to think, what else can I do? I mean, I want to do something better, something more for myself. So, and I remember that I had some experience with eBay and stuff like that. So I decided maybe I should try. I don't know. Maybe I should try more of that. So I tried to get into try to find out what is not. I mean, that was in 2009. Now it's already 2012. Let's see where the world is up to. Like
Right,
maybe
3 years in the mix. What's the next? Is there more potential for you in that track, right?
right.
Okay.
So maybe there are more opportunities out there. So, but the problem is I didn't have any since I wasn't so social. I didn't have like anyone to talk to ask questions. I never really called home or anyone to stay or ask anything. Everything I did myself and privately. So one day, there was one person, my brother-in-law actually. He had a business. So one day I spoke to him. I told him that I want to start doing something, but I don't know how. I don't know where. I don't know where to start. So he had some business experience. He told me that you first have to start something. You have to get out, like step out of the shoe. So,
Step out of your comfort zone. Lay a track. It doesn't matter where it's gonna get to at the end of the road, but start it, because once you do it, you'll get things in motion, and hopefully you'll get to a certain destination.
Right. So the first thing I did, I was brainstorming back and forth. First thing I did was one day I decided that at my day off at B&H, I had like a day off in the middle of the week, like a Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that. So I decided I'm gonna, instead of just taking a day off, I'm going to spend the day taking action, which is basically there is a mall, like a shopping mall, like a outlet mall next to Monroe, like a Woodbury Commons outlet.
Woodbury Commons, yeah, big outlet mall, yeah.
Yeah, so that is like a few minutes away from those, but I lived in Brooklyn back then, so I decided, I have to do something out of my comfort zone. So I decided the next day, on day off, I'm gonna wake up like I don't know, very early, like 4 or 5 o'clock, because I want to be at the mall at 6 o'clock when they open. I think they opened at 6 o'clock back then. I want to be there from the open till basically just have a productive day and see where the day takes me. I didn't have any plans. I just knew I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna try to find deals. Basically, I went to at 6 o'clock. I was there. I went from store to store and I tried to find like deals either on
bargains, what they call your bargain shopping.
Right.
Well, what was the purpose of that?
So it's just basically the idea of finding bargains, because I know that I want to do something.
But what are you gonna do with the bargain? You bought something cheap. What's the next step for you? Sell it? You resell it?
Yeah.
And you sell it on eBay, on Amazon, both?
So back then, I didn't know anything. I didn't know where I'm gonna sell it, what I'm gonna do with it. So first, all I knew is that I need to do something, and I need to, without thinking, just do it.
Hmm.
So
And
I
this is
went.
2012 or 2013?
So that is
Remember?
still 2012. Sorry,
Okay.
well, maybe 13 already. Whatever. Back and
Okay,
this.
around that area. That's fine.
Yeah. So I went to the mall. I went from store to store, and it's very funny because this is very important for everyone to know that once, I mean, in business, when you don't know where to start, once you open one door, like you really break through one door, it's very, you open the door and you automatically you see a lot of other doors are opening for you. So while I was in the mall, I was doing the shopping. I went from store to store. I found out about, I was doing some research on my phone, like finding deals, like checking the pricing if it makes sense. Somehow I found out about thrift shops. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it
Thrift
right.
shops. Yeah, thrift
Thrift
shops.
shops, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
didn't know anything about it before, so I found out about that. And after I was done in the mall, I researched the closest thrift shop. Sorry for my this.
Hmm.
And
So you
I
found the one next to the mall or no, in Monroe?
was 10 minutes away.
Got it.
I went there, and I was so surprised. I was so like mesmerized because it's really what I like. Because personally, I like antique stuff, like expensive stuff for cheap. So I went to this
You were
shop.
pleasantly shocked.
Yeah, I was so shocked. I felt like home. You know, this is
That's great.
so I saw some like really expensive furniture and clothing. So since I was in the mall and I was buying clothing, I decided, you know what, let me stick to clothing. So I remember I bought some like really expensive women's dresses, like wedding dresses and stuff, and some other man stuff. I don't remember exactly.
But you're selling it, you're able to sell it to find buyers?
So basically, I got all of that and I went home with a full car of stuff.
Hmm.
I remember I came home to my, I had a little tiny apartment and everything was there. My wife didn't know what to do. So it was
That's so funny. Wow.
captured everything. And the next day, I went to B&H and I went back to work. And I bought like a cheap camera, and then I ordered a mannequin because it was clothing, like a mannequin. This.
A mannequin, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and it's funny because a day before I had no idea what a mannequin is, so it's just
You
everything came out.
discovered that you want to take pictures of clothing
Yeah,
and to present it somewhere. You know, good practice is to use something what everybody calls a mannequin. So you quickly organize a mannequin, even though a minute ago you didn't know what it was. That's pretty cool.
yeah. So it's funny because once you start doing it, you know, everything else,
Yeah,
whatever.
it's a whole wave of reaction. That's a chain reaction that happened, which is fascinating to hear. Go ahead.
So I bought those stuff and I went. I finally got it home. I started basically taking one product after the other, taking pictures myself with the camera and everything. And then I figured out programs on the computer how to remove white background. It's just interesting to remember. Sorry, if
So
I go.
right away, even before you know where to sell it, you were thrown into the visual arts, right? To
Yeah,
take,
and
yeah, it's awesome.
then the writing. I have to find out information about. I took
And
the
the copyright, right?
yeah, so then my mind started opening. This is what I'm gonna.
These are the components needed to sell a product online. Amazing.
Yeah, so basically, I opened an eBay account. I started selling them. Long story short, I started selling them, and I listed them. And the next day, I was so surprised. I don't know. I remember that feeling. I told my wife like, it was so funny because the next day I started getting sales. Like I listed it, and right away I started getting sales. Like this can't be true. I mean, watch as someone in I don't know where buy the stuff that I just bought in the mall for this. There's so many products out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah.
To realize that this is it is what it is, and it motivated me to.
So that was a pivotal moment to realizing that this is a real deal. This is very powerful. This e-commerce, proposition for you is very powerful because you were able to understand a little bit what's going on. Pull on that thread, create something, a position, and it's sold and it generated revenue, generated income. Um, and this is just tip of the iceberg, right? So that gave you extra motivation to open more and more doors and lay more tracks. Okay, so what was the next thing for you?
So the next thing, once I got rid of those stuff, I mean, it wasn't not everything got rid of. Some stuff I still have as a
You still have
souvenir.
it at the house. All right. Okay. That's
But
what your tuition cost. Yeah.
yeah, so I was researching stuff like where else can I find good deals to resell. So I found out about. So first of all, I went on Craigslist, I think, and I bought like local. I went around with my car to pick up local clothing from people. People wanted to throw away clothing, so I picked it up and I took pictures and I listed it and I sold it. So there's that. And then I got even smarter.
Uh-huh.
Found out about like you can buy lots. It's like website. They
Mhm.
sell like lots of stuff. Like I guess it's like a return.
Liquidation lots. You buy a pallet or some a bundle of product, and it's super super cheap.
Right. So I remember I bought like a whole lot of like a pallet of jeans, like jeans pants, all types of like different for men, for women, everything. So I got it home and I did the same thing. I did the pictures and I listed it and started selling it. So whatever that was and by the way, I was still working at B&H, and by B&H the United States the post office is right next to B&H. It's like
Hmm.
the next door. So I used to bring the stuff like a big bag, like a garbage bag with all the stuff, and then I used to bring it to the post office to ship it out.
That's
And
awesome. Very convenient. Very good.
yeah, it was this, and returns everything was like a back and forth. Whatever. So after a while, I was doing it again. I started feeling okay. What's next?
What's the next step? Yeah, like the yeshiva. What's the next yeshiva? What's the next,
Yeah.
route where you can learn more and engage with something a bit different? Yeah.
Right. So I was doing some research more like what types of Amazon like online shopping that can be done. So then I found out about Amazon. That Amazon
And
is
what year was that? Let's very specific at the year. 2012 or 13 already?
that was 13.
All right, 2013. That's the year where you discover Amazon.
Yeah.
Because until now, all we're talking about is just simply the foundational eBay that most people
Yeah.
have access to. Yeah, and you swim in the shallow water, and then you jumping into the deeper water.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to get my feet wet at Amazon, I found out about there's like a some sort of business which is like drop shipping from Amazon to eBay. Basically, finding stuff on Amazon and reselling it on eBay and ship it from the customer right there.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I got familiar a little bit with Amazon. And long story short, obviously, I got bored from it, so I wanted to find something else. So this is when I finally found out about private label. Like a private
And
label,
what year was that?
that was still in 2000, probably the beginning of 2014.
All right, so less than a year or later, you realize, tried a few variations of dealing with Amazon. You realize that you can create your own brand, your own label, or what they call private label, and market it on Amazon.
Yeah, so I was still at B&H then, so I started taking courses on private label. Like there was a Yiddish course, like a Jewish course, and then it was just a general course.
So the course itself was in Yiddish.
Yeah, so I took one course that was in Yiddish.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then there was another one that I a little bit more advanced, which was like a
Was
general.
what was in English?
Yeah.
Got it.
So
Interesting.
I started doing that on the side, like while I was in B&H, and when I was doing that, I started feeling that this has some potential. This is like more like a real business. It's not like the stuff that I did in the past, which is just fun.
Yeah, it's not just a hustle bustle business or so kind of a gig business. This is
Right.
something that's more foundational, where you have your own brand, your own trademark, your own label. You get clientele, you grow. You can really grow something out of it. So what'd you do about it?
So that while I was doing that, I started feeling that maybe I should quit B&H and do this full time. Maybe it's a good opportunity. Obviously, I was married and I already had a baby. I had a lot of expenses, so I didn't have the guts to quit my job like a B&H right there. So what I was doing here, but back then I moved to Muncie. If you're familiar with Muncie, it's like an hour
Back to upstate New York, a bit cheaper. Yeah.
cheaper. So I moved to Muncie, which was a little bit farther than also to travel to B&H.
Mm-hmm.
So while I moved there, I was trying to find like a part-time job in Muncie so I can run my private label business and still have some
So
income.
essentially, you could, instead of going from upstate New York to New York City, which is more commute, you try to find a day job in the area, so you can mix between a day job and your side business.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through many different jobs, many different interviews, and one job that took me was interesting. It was a restaurant, like a steakhouse.
Uh-huh. Still active?
I still have no idea why they hired me, but
This restaurant is still active?
yeah, sure.
What's it called?
The Ridge.
The Ridge. Got it. Okay, so what would you do for the Ridge?
So I was the manager, the daytime manager.
Okay, good. So you're handling the guests and how's it going? Sit down. What you would like to order? All that good stuff.
So the problem is I didn't have any restaurant experience, any food experience. All I
Yeah.
know is I need a part-time job, and I finally have something that it's part-time, and the pay was really nice. So
Good. You did what you had to do to get by. You did it. You grinded. You never had experience, but it was paying the bills handsomely, and you're able, I guess, to keep nourishing your side business.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. So once I found that, I quit B&H, and I started working in the restaurant. And while I was working in the restaurant,
And this what year was that?
that was in 2014.
Okay.
So I quit B&H. I started working in the restaurant, and meanwhile, I was building up my private label brand on Amazon store.
Was this also clothing? Because it sounds like you had a lot of experience with clothing, up, before with eBay and other stuff. So this was not in the clothing, yeah.
No, it wasn't clothing. It went through the process with the course, like the part of the course is to
Is
figure
to
out.
identify something that might have a good potential of selling.
Yeah.
Got it.
I took one niche, whatever, and I started creating the whole store and the trademark, the brand, and everything that is needed. While I was working in the restaurant. So obviously, while I was working in the restaurant, it didn't take long till I realized that this guy is not here. I mean, his focus is.
He's not with us. He's not with the guests. He's somewhere online. Thinking about how to improve and optimize and configure and to connect.
Yeah. So after a few weeks, I got fired from the restaurant, and I didn't know what to do because the business wasn't really making money. I was still building it, and I really didn't want to go back to B&H.
Right.
So I was basically without income. So I decided I'm not going back to a job. I'm gonna take this business. I'm anyway doing it. Let's do it. Let's focus on it more, like be full time, and let's try to make something. So I took out an office locally. From 9 to 6. I used to work like everything. I used to follow the courses and do the process to build up the private label brand. And meanwhile, I was doing like flexible part-time jobs, which is like driving car service, like a local long distance. And some
gig economy, gigs. You were doing gigs on the side. So let me get this straight. You basically rented an office space. So most of the time of your day was already dedicated to your own business, and then to get by, you did all these side gigs, correct?
Yes,
Got it.
I was chauffeuring someone, whatever. So I did that for around a year, and after a year, I started feeling like some tightness in the financial list.
So a year is about 2015, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you felt okay. I'm doing all this, but it's still hard to get by.
Right. So I wasn't sure what to do, and I had a friend that knew what I'm doing, like Amazon. He knew about my listings, my products, and everything. So he knew of his friend that is looking to hire. And his friend had like a big Amazon company, and he knew that they were looking to hire an Amazon guy, create the listings, manage the account. So he offered me that. I went over and an interview, and I got a job.
Full time, part time?
Full time. It was very hard because I was used to coming to my office, my own time. So now I'm back to a job, so it was very hard. But I know.
But at least it was in the industry you were trying to develop your own business with, so that was a good synergy for you.
Yeah, and it was all worth it. I mean, that built up my whole thing.
It's great. So you got lucky when you got fired, huh?
Yeah.
Great.
It's not something I have to go down in order to.
Yeah, it was. Oh, yeah. It's basically it was a dip for the next peak.
Yeah, for a jump.
Nice.
So basically, I worked at a job over there. It was
for how long?
Around a year.
So 2015 to 2016, you were working full time in a company that's selling on Amazon, and your job over there was what? What was your position?
Create all the listings and manage the account, make sure the sales are running, and
full stack operation.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's a huge company, so it was a lot of work. So
when I say huge, what was the revenue approximately?
In the millions. I don't know exactly, but it's like
just on Amazon or in general the whole company?
So they sold it everywhere, like a website, eBay.
Yeah, so they had the multi-channel approach and e-commerce, but how much was Amazon? Over $1 million?
Amazon was like it's 50-50 because their niche that they're selling is it's very big on eBay, so that's why it's 50-50. But in other cases, Amazon will be much better.
Yeah, so you're basically operating multi-millions of dollars for this company on Amazon. That was your position, and somebody else was doing it for eBay, correct?
Yeah.
Got it.
So while I was there, I really, obviously my job was mainly to create the listings and optimize all their old listings. They had like thousands of listings. So this is when I realized that this is my specialty, like optimizing, because they said, I remember they said that they gave me the confidence. Basically, they're open already for years. They never had that when they upload the listing, it should start selling right away. Usually they create a listing, they do the ads, and it takes time to build up. Since I
So you're
started,
saying before you started, the creation of listings for them was slow and full of agony until it really got some traction. But the moment you came in, it was like rapid speed. It comes in, it's fully optimized, and boom, brings the revenue in.
uh-huh, yeah.
Nice.
So long story short, I went through the whole, the job, came in every day. After a year, I started feeling again, okay, what's next? I have to go back. I can't do this. I can't continue doing this. So what I did was, I remember I went to a coach, like a mentor, uh, and I went to him.
Somebody local, somebody really famous around the world. What was somebody local?
Like in our community. He actually lives in Monroe, where I grew up. So
You want to give a shout out? What's his name?
what?
You want to give him a shout out? Mention his name or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's gonna listen. Like my parents.
Okay, make sure you listen to this episode because okay, what happened with the mentor? If you mention him, it probably something interesting happened.
Yeah, so I went to him. I back then I had like a unique business idea. It didn't make sense at all. So I went to him. I thought, you know what? Let me go to a mentor. Let me discuss it with him. Let's see what he said. So I discussed this business with him, and then while I was there, I told him, by the way, I also have an Amazon business, and if this is not a good idea, maybe you should take my Amazon business that I started with like back then and really build it up, like go back to it and give me like.
So by that time where you went to the mentor, you already had it running for about 3 years, your Amazon business, your private label brand, right? You started around 2013, 14, and right now we're talking about 2016.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
good.
The problem was that while I was working at the job, I didn't really focus on my Amazon.
Yeah, you had the infrastructure for it. You were doing, it was some degree it was working, but it was already stretching for a while. You had to figure out what's the next step, or you shut it down, right?
Yeah,
So
I shut it down. I mean, I left it like I put it on sleep, and then so I showed him I showed him my listings, my products, and everything. So he said he's gonna get back to me. So I went home and I wasn't sure. So the next day he called me back. He told me that the business idea they came in for, it's good to use your brain to brainstorm, but it's not something that I will recommend you to this. But I see something in your Amazon business that can really has a lot of potential. I see your listings, your images, your content, everything. You said you did everything yourself. I mean, he said whatever. So he told me that he see myself that I'm really creative. I'm a creative guy. So I shouldn't really do like selling on Amazon because that's not really my potential. Instead, I should do the things that I do well in my Amazon business, which is creating the listings and start offering for other people.
So basically, you recognize that your best elements so far for you was your ability to create these very compelling and fully optimized listings, which generate the sales, and you should deal less with, I guess, the buying and selling and identifying products component of the business, because that's really where your talents was really different and unique from the rest, right?
Right.
Interesting. Okay, it was worth it. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So what'd you do with that information or that advice?
So the first few weeks, I just said, okay, thank you for the information, but I went back to my job, and I continued working in whatever regular do. So obviously, I kept on having it in the back of my mind. That,
you put the bug in your head, right?
Yeah, the only reason why I didn't want to do it is because I mean, owning a business is one thing, like sit in my office and sit in this and resell. But getting into services, it's more like I have to communicate with people, talk to people. And it wasn't really me. I mean, I was really shy. I mean, I'm still a little bit, but really shy back then. And I couldn't see myself like being in the service business and talk to people, communicate with people and talk on the phone and go out to shows and stuff. So I said, I don't know, it's not for me.
So internally for you, for your system, you said, I want to, you're pushing yourself away from that because of, lack of experience, lack of confidence. You're an introvert as opposed to an extrovert. Okay, so you're kind of pushing it away.
Yeah. So as time went on, I continued working at the job there. So meanwhile on the side, I was doing some one Amazon service on the side, which is like it doesn't require a lot of communications. It's just like a quick thing. People send in the stuff and I do it and it's getting done.
So you already basically had a kind of a little of a nucleus of clients where they send you products, you take images, you make some copyright, you send them back to them.
It wasn't anything related to that. It was just one of the services, like a ranking, whatever. It's like there used to be like an old method that used to work back then, but it doesn't work anymore.
It was basically a little, I guess, hack to improve the listing ranking, right, for Amazon sellers.
Just to make a little bit extra money.
Yeah.
on the side. So the funny part was that one of the clients that used me for that service, one day randomly he asked me if he's looking for someone that does listings. He has a lot of listings, but it doesn't work. So back then, I think it was 2016, that was like the shift where having an optimized listing started to get like really important, because before that it wasn't so important. You listed a product and started selling right away.
So you're saying, as far as you're aware, 2016 was a year of change, where up to 2016 you can get a little bit by having okay, listings, but 2016, that's when the sellers start to raise the bar, and Amazon and the algorithm also, where you need to have fully optimized and to get the ranks at the right position, and keep rock and roll in sales, right?
Right.
Okay.
So he messaged me, asked me, said that his listing doesn't work. He has a lot of new competition and he has to compete. So he wants to optimize his listing if I know someone, because he thought that I have connections in the Amazon field because I offer the service.
Mm-hmm.
So at first I wanted to recommend it to someone that did it. And then I started thinking maybe I should say that I'm doing it and I should take it on.
And that's what you did. It sounds like you did that, right?
Yeah.
Did you?
It took a few days till I really broke.
You have to process it, get the courage and say, yeah, you know what, I do it, right?
Yes.
All right, good. That was a breaking point.
Yeah. So that was a real breaking point. So I after a few days, I sent a reply. Yes, I do it. I can help you.
Nice.
So he told me that he wants to see.
And this is 2016?
Yeah, around the end of 2016.
Okay.
So then he said he wants to see samples of my listings. So I sent him samples from my products that I had, and plus the listing that I did for the job where I work, the company that I work for.
Nice.
So he said, back then, I remember when I sent him the samples, I hope that he doesn't like it. So, you know what? I don't know. I don't want to do it. I want to do it, but I don't want to do it. I don't feel confident. So he came back to me and said he loves the listings. And here you have 30 listings of ours. I want you to optimize all 30 listings, and we'll pay you whatever. I gave my price, and I was so shocked. I didn't know how to handle it. It's 30 listings. I was still working at the job.
You didn't know how to price it, right? Essentially, you didn't even know how much you charge. That's funny.
I didn't know how much to charge. I didn't know.
Because it's a service. You got to determine your time, your labor, your input, your creative, right? As opposed to a product, you bought it for X, you sell it for that, it makes a little money in the spread. That's funny. Okay, good. You have to discover that as well. How do you charge for a service? Brilliant.
So I tried to figure out. I checked the other companies what they're charging. So obviously I charge them lower because I didn't have so much confidence in myself that I can charge so much money.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave them a good price, and I remember it was 30 listings. They had to get done like within 2 weeks. So I was still working at the job. So I worked like late at nights over weekends, like Friday, Sundays, whatever. And I got done all those 30 listings, and obviously he liked it. And then he kept on giving me more.
Nice. So you did a good run on the 30, and then it fed you and dripped more and more business as the days went by.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point, I think he did, and that client did it, or someone else did it. And there's a lot of Amazon groups, in WhatsApp. And someone, for some reason, I guess someone was asking like a recommendation for a listing, and someone recommended my name. I'm trying to remember who it was, because I really want to give him like the
and the shout out, the credit.
But I can't remember who it was, and they posted my name, and I started getting messages. People started messaging me if I can create a listing for them. So since I did that 30 listings and I got more confident, I said, yes, I can do it. So once I got so many orders, I was like, okay, maybe it's time to quit the job and start doing this. I mean, not as a business, but maybe as a freelancer or something like that. So I kept the job, I kept on doing it, and I started feeling more and more like, okay, this job doesn't bring me anything. It's just wasting my time.
Which job? Your day job?
The
day job wasn't giving you satisfaction, wasn't really going anywhere, but your business was, getting some sort of attraction.
Right. So one day I quit the job. I gave notice. Obviously, I stayed there for 2 weeks to train someone else.
And what year was that when you gave the notice, when you detached?
It was by the end of 2016.
Got it.
December time.
Mm-hmm.
I quit the job, and then
2017, you enter into a brand new year.
Yeah. So I remember I went on vacation. I think New Year's, whatever that time, and I went on vacation just to plug out from everything, just a little break. And when I came back, I started taking on all the new listings that I received, and this is what I'm doing now. I don't have a job anymore. This is what I'm doing now. I felt so good, like
This is me, but you felt comfortable? You felt good in
really.
that position?
And the more I did it, I started feeling, okay, maybe I should make a company out of it. So I remember like in January 2017, I opened like a corporation. I came up with a name, Bestseller Listers, and with the logo, which is the bestseller. I did everything myself.
You
And
start packaging yourself and branding your service.
yeah. So I started doing this business. I mean, I made nice income, from all those listings and stuff. And back then, I only did listings. That was my specialty. I didn't
Listing, when you say listing, was mostly what, the images and the content,
no,
or
it's before the images, just the content, just the
just the
title,
word? That's the copyright.
copywriting, right? So it's the copywriting of the listings. So at the time I did that, and while I was doing it, obviously you know me by now that I always I'm always looking for more. So then I realized that other companies that do it, they also offer other services. But the thing is, I didn't know how to go about it. So the first thing I did, so people started asking me that if you do the listing, maybe you also do the images, like the full package. So I'm not a professional photographer. I know something from back then from selling on eBay, all those pants and stuff, but I'm not professional. I don't do it. So I basically made I contacted a few local photographers where I lived, and I made a connection with one of them. I told them, you know what, so I'm going to do the copywriting, you're going to do the photos. It wasn't a partnership or something. It was just like an outsource.
Outsource, yep.
So the clients didn't know. So I told them, yeah, I can deliver the whole thing, the content and the pictures, and then I went on to EBC descriptions and graphics.
EBC is enhanced brand content. Basically, I guess the best content you can lay out there on an Amazon listing.
Yeah, also called the A+ content. Right?
Yep.
So yeah, and also remember, yeah. So I continued doing that. Fine, and after a few weeks, someone reached out to me that they're making like a local event, like for local sellers, and they asked if I want to be a sponsor. So I had no idea what means a sponsor. Like
again, everything is very fresh.
yeah,
We say you're very green about everything. Everywhere you go, you're green. You're like a rookie. So what does that mean? And then you have to understand the elements, and then I guess you pick up fairly quickly and you utilize it, and that opens more and more doors. Okay, so you sponsor the event.
yeah, asking all the questions. What is this? I said, there's nothing. I have to show up and bring some business cards, and I'm gonna have like a sign with my logo. I'm a sponsor. I said, okay, nice. No problem. And I did it, and before the event, I started researching what means a sponsor. Like how do I need to what I need to prepare something. So I said,
what's my role? What do I do here? What's my responsibility as a sponsor? Yeah.
Right. So I saw online that people like samples like that. You have to create a brochure, and people should see what you do. So I remember it was 2 days before the event, and I knew that if I'm anyway doing it, I should do it the right way. So I reached out to someone, basically create me something, create me like an ad, a brochure, to basically tell people what I'm doing. So it got done within a day or two. Thank God I'm creative, so I had ideas right away. So what I want to do, what I want to have. So within done, it was done. Within a day, it was done. I got the business cards. I got some pens, custom pens. I was ready.
Nice, good job.
I went to the event and I bring everything over, and that was really shocking because I wasn't used to it. I told you I wasn't used to like to meet people, talk to people.
Attention. You're not used to have it. Once you sponsor something, you get attention.
Right. And I went to the event and I put everything out on the tables and people saw it. So people started coming over asking questions. I was so I don't know, my anxiety level was really this.
Your anxiety, you were stunned, huh?
Yeah, I didn't know
put on the spot.
Uh-huh.
Oh, nice.
But it actually built me up because it gave me a lot of confidence that I can do it. I can be that person, whatever. So it was a big push.
Good,
so,
very good.
I did the event, and after the event, I got some recognition and publicity. So after the event, I started getting more clients and more stuff and whatever. So it went on from back then.
Yeah. So you were already catching a wave. You understand more and more how to approach and grow your business and reach out and outreach and put your brand, it's a service which is basically becoming some sort of a brand and just growing. And so let's speed up a little bit to 2017 to 18. you were growing through that aspect, and what was the major components in those years in terms of growth, or what was the next development?
Yeah, so I continued growing like more and more. So obviously there was more events, which is obviously Ed Rosenberg, ASGTG event.
Hmm.
Then there was like the JCon event in Brooklyn. So I started realizing that in order to grow the business, I really need to do it. I have to show up there. It was very hard because
Very physical, yeah.
yeah. So and then again, I started reaching out to people like, how do I sponsor an event? How like the booth?
How do I scale this? How do you scale it up?
Right. So I started going to shows. I bought all the stuff for the booth, everything. I created everything. So I had companies to do it, and we got ready for the booth. And you know, as time went on, I got more popular and more on this, and I started offering more services. So, Baruch Hashem, it became a successful.
More solutions, yeah, more solutions. So that was 2017 to 18, and what happened around 2019 to 2020? Take us there.
So basically, it's similar. I mean, obviously, it continued growing. I got more publicity and more this. And in 2019, I think I started getting on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Found out about
Social media. You discovered social media?
Yeah, no, I knew about social media a little bit, but I never used it for business.
Right.
So on LinkedIn, I found out about LinkedIn, and LinkedIn was a good like a platform for me to really get out, like my personal brand, like started writing content, posts, and promote myself, promote my business. And from there, I got a lot of business. And obviously, back then there was a lot of LinkedIn events, like local LinkedIn events.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also like this is when I started feeling like a celebrity. People came over like, wow, I know you from LinkedIn. I was like, how do you know me? I was always used to my hand. Nobody knows me. Nobody is talking to me.
You're not in the yeshiva days anymore. That's it.
Right.
You're in the World Wide Web. You know, you're in the internet, and exposure is simply there. Okay, beautiful. So, give us a little bit of a context in terms of course, we understand that you grew, more clients come in, and you're offering more solutions. So today you're in a position where you're pretty much a full stack solution. You can optimize images, listings. You want to spit out a few more optimizations that you guys are really good at. That's one thing. But
Yeah.
another thing is in terms of staff, where you always just you. I would imagine at some point you have to start hiring and growing and become, you know, an organization.
Right. So I forgot to mention that. So that's also a big part of the business, which is in the beginning I used to do the listing all by myself, the content and the photos I did with someone else. But then I started to get requests, like people wanted to do the whole thing, like the images and the graphics, EBC, A+ descriptions and everything. So I need to start hiring people. So Hashem, I went through from different websites, different platforms, marketplaces, like FreeUp was one of them that I used in the beginning. So I started to outsource all those extra stuff that I couldn't do. And even the listings, I couldn't keep up because I got so...
the volume, it was prolific. You know, there's still prolific times in the e-commerce space. It's just growing by the second.
Yeah, so I had to hire writers. In the beginning, it was very hard because I have my own unique style, how I want stuff to be done. I don't like to be like everyone else. I like to be unique. And
you have your own standards and your own edge.
Right, own style. So that was very hard to find the right people to copy what I want, like to whatever, to really deliver this. So I went through like a different freelancers and stuff. And then I had a lot of issues with freelancers because you don't really have control over them. So you can't really run a business on them because one day they decide that they're not here anymore or they're too busy. Mm-hmm. So then I realized I need to hire people full-time, like they're mine. So
create an organization filled up with positions, staff, you can rely, they're always available. So you started basically just go, oh, what's hiring? What's it, you know? What's all that?
The whole,
well, what's salary? How do I, pay salary, stuff like that. So so that was a whole new track for you to discover. But what's the position today? How big is the staff? How big is the team? How many clients along the years you already serve? Give us some context of the scale of growth that you achieve all these years.
Yeah, so now it's 2020, and we already at over 10 full-time
employees.
Mm-hmm. Combination of content writers, photographer, and graphic designers, project managers, and everything. Basically, to run the whole operation. And I usually don't like to look at everything by numbers besides the money, but like a client. So I just went through like all the clients that went from 2017. It's very close to 1,000 brands that we deal with.
So for the short run of 3 years, 36 months, you have assisted, contributed, and positively affected over 1,000 brands on Amazon and e-commerce. Is that
Yeah,
correct? That's
yeah,
remarkable. Yeah, beautiful.
and Baruch Hashem, and that obviously means that it's like a few thousand listings created.
Yeah, each one, it's not just one listing. Obviously, some of them come with one, some of them will come with plenty. So you affected probably tens of thousands of products out there that consumers are shopping, buying, they're connecting with, and that's your fruits, from the farm that and all the seeds that you planted all these years, and all these experiences that you collected all these years. You're able to reinvest it into yourself, to your organization, and positively affect this industry, right? Which is very, very interesting to see how it just it goes so many places. You can't even put your hands on it, but it does translate positively because you get paid. There's an income for you, for your employees, for your staff, for your families, for your community, which is a great thing to always discover and see. So beautiful. So I want to thank you really, I mean, for sharing that. That was really, really sincere, very, very honest, and I found it very, very fascinating. So today, 2020, you're riding on the success, and I wish you much more success. So we're going to close off this episode by doing two things. First thing will be you're going to give a handoff to where, if people want to look out for you and find you, where can they find you? And the last thing will be, what is your message of hope and inspiration for entrepreneurs listening out there?
I have to think about that.
But where can they find you first? Let's start with that.
So they can find me here. I'm right this.
That's a good start. But after this episode ends, they want to stay in touch.
Right. So I can be contacted in many places. First of all, I have the website, which is www.bestsellerlisters.com.
Bestseller, no S. Bestseller as an individual, listers, right? That's plural.com.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the main point of contact is WhatsApp. WhatsApp, I try to be pretty active on WhatsApp. I made like a separate WhatsApp account for my business.
So you have a WhatsApp channel or I guess page or location, destination for the business, right?
Yeah. So I keep it separate from personal, so I know it's full business.
Mm-hmm.
And over there, I communicate with clients, and also.
What's the number? You want to give us the number, but do it nice and slow. We're gonna have it running on the screen after when it goes to production. This video.
Yeah, so it's 845-288-1740.
Okay, so look at that number, reach out through WhatsApp, say, hey, my name is this and this, so and so, I would like to learn more, or I want your help with, creating listings, and he's always available. So that's the places where they can find you. And LinkedIn, what's your handle on LinkedIn? Just your name?
Yeah.
Max Schlesinger?
Yeah, and by the way, on WhatsApp as well, I besides from communicating with clients, I also share a lot of stuff on my status. In the WhatsApp status, I try to keep like sellers and clients up to date with the latest news, the latest tricks, and the latest.
In other words, you run a community. This is WhatsApp channel is essentially a community where you give updates and from the industry and what's going on. So if you want to stay up to date on what's going on, you're welcome to join that group as well, the WhatsApp group or channel. All right, good. And what's your message of hope and inspiration? I hope this we gave enough time to prepare.
So, I didn't have time to think about it because I was busy with WhatsApp.
Got it.
What is it? The hope and.
What's your message of hope and inspiration or motivation for entrepreneurs out there listening?
I don't know. So, for example, for me, during the whole history and the whole this, one thing is very important, which is the move that I did when I was working at B&H, and I had to start something somewhere, and I made the move of waking up early and going to the mall, starting finding deals, and starting selling them on eBay, even though I didn't have any experience, any knowledge of what I'm doing, any plan. The idea is basically, if you're stuck somewhere or you're not happy where you are, just take action. Think of something, even though it doesn't make sense, just do it. You figure out later. Even though it doesn't bring you anything, it definitely gonna bring anything, something. Because the fact is, as I said earlier, once you break through like the one door, usually the first door is very hard and the hardest door. Once you break through that door, if you see it, you will see it. You will open the door. You see a lot of many doors are open for you. So automatically things started coming in. I think there's a saying in Hebrew about it. I don't know if I forgot it is. Like once, whatever.
One door opens. I think there's a different saying. We say spiritually speaking, they say if you open it to a person an inch of a little, like the size of a needle, an opening the size of a little needle, he's gonna, or God at least, spiritually saying, if you kind of accept God, and even with the little slightest size of a needle, he's gonna open the whole world for you. So you're saying for that, I guess for that kind of little weight, if you believe that you're not in a good position and you want to create something, but you're not sure what it is, do something in any direction. You'll see that all of a sudden this, you know, a chain reaction will take place, and more doors will open, and you're just going to continue into a certain track that, if you are passionate about it, you feel positive about it, it's positively impacting others, it's gonna create a good position for you. I guess we can learn from your case is that you took action, it wasn't clear what it is, where you're taking it, and like a snowball, it created all these elements where today looking back, you say, hey, now I'm able to positively affect thousands and thousands of brands. Hopefully you continue doing so, but it started from those moments where just, wake up 6 a.m., go to the mall, start buying stuff because you said, I'll find a place to sell it, and reach out to other sellers. And that was the little seeds of nucleus for what you are doing right now, full steam. So thank you so much for these words and words of wisdom. Mac, thank you so much. We wish you many more years of success. We hope maybe to follow up later on to see how you're doing. But much more success. And whoever's listening, thank you for joining us. Stay safe, stay healthy. Until next time.
Thank you so much.